Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Om Shri Hanuma Bhima Madhvantargata Ramakrishna Vedavyasatmaka Lakshmi Hayagrivaya Namaha. Namaskara of Srinivasan Pranesh to all Sajjanas. We are going through a series of discourses under the title Vedās an Unbiased View, and this is the 22nd episode of this series of discourses. So in previous session, we went through the Cāruvāka's epistemology. We are discussing about the Cāruvāka views and the criticism on the Cāruvāka views now. Cāruvākas are basically the atheists come materialists. So we can see this Cāruvāka philosophy in many forms in the current world, all those we discussed. So they believe only in perception. We already went through the three instruments of knowledge. That is the direct perception, is the sensual perception, and inference, and then agama. So they don't believe in inference or agama. That is, they don't believe in anumana or inference and agama. They believe only in the pratyaksha or the sensual perception. So in that case, they can't even preach their philosophy to others. The moment they start talking, they get defeated on their own principles if they don't believe in agama. What is agama? The definition we went through is the defectless words. Then we proceeded to say what are all the Saddagamas, the list. We said the four Vedas, Mula Ramayana, Mahabharata, and then entire Pancharatra Ahama, and then anything that does not conflict with this. So let us forget all those time being. Basically, what is the definition of Agama? The definition is the defectless words or Agama. Now let us say the Cāruvāka is going to sell his principles. If he is to be called a philosophy, there has to be some followers for him. I mean, for the Cāruvāka. So the Cāruvāka have to preach their philosophy to their disciples and the followers. So now let us forget all the scriptures, Vedas, everything. They don't accept those. We have debates with them. Let it be on one side. Basically, while preaching their philosophy to others, they have to sell their philosophy through the defectless words. They are going to preach their philosophy through words. And nobody can declare that my words are defective, and since it is defective, yet you have to follow it. Nobody can say like that. So they have to sell their philosophy. When they preach their philosophy, they have to say their words are defectless and their philosophy is defectless. That is how they can get followers. They can preach to others. They can really sell their philosophy and convince others in the society. So basically, they have to accept in defectless words. At least their words are defective. That is different. But when they sell it, they have to sell it as defectless words. Only then people will follow it. People can believe in it. Now, after saying that they don't believe in the defectless words, so not believing in agama is as good as saying not believing in the defectless words, because that is the definition of agama. So now, after saying I don't believe in the defectless words, how can they preach their philosophy to their followers? How can they spread their philosophy? If they don't believe in the defectless words, then the moment they start preaching their philosophy, the moment they start talking about their philosophy, they are defeated on their own principles. Now, after our debate against their views, now if they proceed to say they agree to the defectless words, then also they get defeated, because originally they don't believe in the defectless words. Similarly, they don't believe in the inference. But to proceed to a debate, they have to bare minimum believe in the inference. Because what is inference? Defectless reasoning is inference. So you have to give a defectless reason. The Cāruvāka says they don't believe in God. Even to say that they don't believe in inference, that is, they don't believe in reasoning, they have to give good reasons. Right? So after saying they don't believe in inference, they don't believe in agama, they don't believe in God. In short, they don't believe in anything that cannot be perceived. So how they are going to prove it to the others? They have to give reasoning. But they say they don't believe in defectless reasoning. That is the inference. So the moment they get into a debate, they stand defeated on their own principles. So anyway, the opponent is roaring against them. They are saying that the Cāruvāka philosophy is useless. So to defend Cāruvāka philosophy, they have to get into a debate. But if they get into a debate, the moment they get into a debate, they get defeated on their own principles. So we analyzed the Cāruvāka from the common man's perspective after looking into the background of the Cāruvāka history. So from the common man's perspective, so even hunger, eating food to satisfy that hunger, and thirst, drinking water to satisfy that thirst, everything is based on the inference. So if somebody don't accept inference, they can't even survive. So from the common man's perspective, we went through that. And the epistemological perspective, he said if inference and agama are not accepted, then the Cāruvāka will get defeated on their own grounds. At least Buddhists and Jains and such philosophies, those who believe in the Vedas, they still say they believe in the words of their preceptor. And they argue that those are defectless words. Let it be on one side. So basically, they agree to the words. They believe in the defectless words. Their words are defective. We will come to that debate later. But Cāruvāka, who don't even believe in defectless words, they are unfit to be preached to others, and they are unfit for a debate. Now in this part 22, we will further go through the Cāruvāka Vada. So what does Cāruvāka say? They don't believe in Adrishta. So Adrishta means something that can be seen. Adrishta means something that cannot be seen or perceived. So for example, Swarga, Naraka, Karma Phala, rebirth, all these things cannot be seen or perceived. So Cāruvāka don't believe in the Adrishta. They don't believe in Karma Phala, rebirth. So then they cannot explain why one is rich and one is poor. Let us take an example. So somebody is rich in this world, somebody is poor in this world. The poor struggle for money, the rich have surplus money. So they are paying others, and others get paid in a job. So why these differences? So immediately the Cāruvāka or today's people who follow Periyarism or communism, they will proceed to say that these are not based on karma phala. These are all just the human's selfishness. So whoever were strong enough in the society, they became rich, and whoever were not strong enough to hold some properties or something, they became poor. So this is how the richness and poorness came. This is their argument. Okay, let it be on one side. So let us say several thousand years back, whoever were strong, whoever were knowledgeable, they become rich, and the other one became poor. That is okay. But what is the cause of that? And then now everybody reproduces. So some soul is born in a rich man's family, and some soul is born in a poor man's family. So there is no strength or weakness here. Just by birth, somebody become rich and somebody is born poor. So why the fate of these people are like this? Why one should be born in a rich home? Why one should be born in a poor home? So somebody is hale and healthy, somebody is diseased. If we see, if we take that the body is everything as the Cāruvāka say, then many people have got the same indriyas, same body, and everything is same. Everybody have got 2 legs, two hands, 1 head, 2 ears, 2 eyes, nose and mouth. Everything is similar. Then why the intellectual levels are different? Why somebody is hale and healthy while the other one is having diseases? So why should be somebody born as a animal, born as an animal or a bird, while the other is born as human? So the Cāruvākas cannot explain this. So they necessarily have to agree in the karma phala and rebirth. Even for the religions that believe in God, if they don't agree to the karma and rebirth, then they miserably fail. Let me say how. Because every jiva is propelled by God. Every soul is propelled by God based on their past karma, their swabhava, of course, and then their past karma, which we call as prarabdha karma. The souls are into the action, though they are propelled, the souls are into the action, and they are responsible for the actions, and they have to reap the fruits of their actions. So there are do's and don'ts, injunctions in the Vedas. If somebody follows the do's, then they get rewarded. If somebody follow the don'ts, then they get punished. They get sin and they get punished. So this is the karma phala which we talk about. The Vedantins, they believe in the karma phala. They talk about this. Now let us say some religion believes in God, but still they don't believe in this karma phala and the fruits of karma or the rebirth. Then the problem is, how do they explain the diversity in this world? So if they say there is only one birth and there is no past karma, and in this one birth, that means everybody should have been born with zero karma. Am I right? That is where it comes to. It boils down to starting with a zero karma, because they don't believe in previous birth, they don't believe in the next birth. They only believe in one birth and they don't believe in karma phala. So in that case, why this diversity? Why one should be born as animal? Why one should be born as bird? Why one should be born as insect and be killed in a day or two? Why somebody should be a worm in the toilets and suffer while somebody is born as a human? Even among the humans, somebody is hale and healthy, somebody is wealthy, somebody is poor, somebody is suffering from the diseases. So how such big diversity comes in this world? We are seeing this world. We are experiencing this world. This is our experience, own experience. Nobody have to teach us that there is something called diversity in this world. Everybody knows. So what is the basis of this diversity? So the religion should necessarily accept in the karma and the rebirth. If they don't do, that means when everybody starts with zero karma, still the God puts somebody into suffering and pain while he keeps somebody happy. So this will attribute partiality and cruelty to the God. So after attributing partiality and cruelty to the God, they cannot speak about God, because every religion says God is merciful. So in that case, if God is impartial, he is merciful, then if he is unbiased, then karma phala and rebirth should be accepted and the soul should be held responsible for their karma. Either the God is responsible for the karma or the soul is responsible for the karma. There are only two possibilities. So if we say the soul is not responsible, the soul does not have karma at all, they don't have rebirth at all, then it will result in a case where the God is partial and cruel. This is called Vaishamya Nairgrinya Dosha, which cannot be attributed to the God by a religion. So even the God believers, in case they are a religion and a God believer, they still have to accept karma and rebirth. Otherwise, the religion miserably fades. In case of Cāruvāka, it is straight. They don't believe in the perception. They believe only in the perception. They don't believe in the inference and agama. So that is why they don't believe in karma phala, all this which cannot be perceived. But then even the Cāruvākas cannot explain this diversity in this world. Few being happy and few being the sufferers. So they necessarily have to accept something called adrishta or atindriya vishaya. That is something that is beyond the indriyas or the senses. And now, how do the Cāruvākas define death? What is death as per them? So is there not something beyond the body? So we see that we are all functioning, and some humans may live 60 years, some may live 80 years, some may live 70 years, and their bodies don't get perished when they live. So we are all healthy. We may have diseases, but still The body is not perishable when we live. And the moment somebody dies, within few hours, the body starts perishing. So why this happens? So if death is also inferred, actually through the reasoning only, they say somebody is dead. So the doctor checks the pulse, he checks the heartbeat, he has his own methodology, reasoning, the temperature drop in the body. Based on that, they say somebody is dead. So it is based on, death is declared based on inference. And Cāruvākas don't believe in the inference. So in that case, how do they believe in the death? Obviously, death is different. Dead body is different from the living people's body. Any number of years we live, 50 years, 60 years, the body is good. So when somebody dies, the body perishes. That means something that was present in the body when they lived is missing on their death. Sorry for my cough. I'm not feeling well, but still let me continue this and post this Sunday. So the dead body is obviously different from a living person's body. So now Cāruvāka say that the combination of 5 elements itself brings the consciousness. So we will go to that. Basically, there is something different from the living person and the dead body. There is consciousness seen in the living body, whereas that consciousness is absent in the dead body. Whatever we do, we prick the body with a pin. So that the doctors even cut the bodies after a murder or something, and nothing is seen there. No reaction is seen. That means the consciousness is missing. So the consciousness that was present in the body earlier is missing now. So if Cāruvākas argue that body is everything and there is nothing beyond body, then they are wrong. Because we see the difference between the living person and a dead body. So a mere dead body is sufficient to prove that Cāruvākas are wrong. So now, to hold their view, Cāruvākas start arguing that the 5 elements of nature, the elements of the nature, when they are combined, they bring consciousness to the body. So, okay. If that is the case, then the elements of nature are present even in the dead body. The holes like eyes, ears, nose, all the holes of the body are open even in the dead body. So the body is made of earth element, and the blood is watery. There is no reason that blood should not flow in a dead body. As per Cāruvāka, I'm saying as per Cāruvāka, because they don't believe in soul. They say body is everything, and the mere combination of the body brings consciousness. The mere combination of the elements of nature brings consciousness. In that case, the elements of nature are present even in the dead body. The earth element is present, the blood is present, and then air or the vayu that can very well go in and come out. The holes are present in the body like nostrils, ears, eyes, and so all the openings in the body are present even in the dead body. Then why the dead body stops working? If mere combination of the elements of nature can bring in consciousness, then even a dead body should have consciousness as per the Cāruvāka. But we don't see that practically. So that clearly shows that there is something inside the body which is not seen with the normal eyes or not perceived with the normal senses. That factor was present in the body, which is called consciousness, and after death that gets missing. So there is soul. The soul is present in the body, and there are several deities in the body who propel the soul based on their past karma, and Mukhya Prana Vayu propels all such deities. And finally, that Mukhya Prana Vayu is also propelled by Vishnu. So there are several sentient beings in the body which makes the body function. And if a person is dead, that means all these sentient beings, including the soul, have left the body. So the argument that Cāruvāka said there is nothing called soul or something beyond the body is baseless. But however, now say let us get into their argument. Let us accept their argument in first place. Let us acknowledge it. What are they saying? They say the mere combination of the elements of nature will bring the consciousness in the body. So they give some interesting examples also for that. One of the examples is that the beetle nuts, the beetle leaves and the beetle nuts or the areca nuts, and then the slake lime or the edible lime, we call it sunnambu, chunna. So when the beetle leaves, areca nuts and the lime are mixed and chewed in the mouth. So beetle leaves are in some color, green color. Areca nuts have a different color. The lime is mostly white in color. When all these are combined, then there is some new formation. That there is a new color. So we have seen people spitting the combination out. So that becomes red in color. Even the tongue becomes red in color for sometimes. So they say the mere combination of these three elements, the beetle leaves, areca nuts, and the edible lime, they produce some different color. So it is seen in this world. Likewise, when all the elements of nature combine and make this body, then consciousness automatically comes as a product of that. So this is their argument. But this argument is also not right, because if we take the beetle nuts, it has got a property or attribute called color. It has got a green color. Similarly, the areca nuts have got a color. The edible lime or the sunnambu, that has got a color. So the attribute called color is already present in all these three elements, and when these three elements combine, they produce a different color called red. So this property or attribute called color is something which is already present in the raw elements, and that is seen in the products as well. But if we take the elements of nature, mainly the fire, water, the earth tattva, and then let it be air, whatever it is, or the space, akasha. These are the 5 elements of the nature. So the elements of nature, none of the elements of nature have got a property or attribute called consciousness. So when something is not present or means it is absent in the cause, then it cannot be seen in the effect as well. It cannot be seen in the product. In case of beetle leaves, areca nuts, and edible lime, they already have a property called color. So the color combination gives a different color. Whereas in the elements of nature, all these elements of nature are insentient, and they don't have a property called consciousness. So the mere combination of these also cannot bring in the consciousness. So the Cāruvāka's argument is logically not right in this respect. That means the mere combination of the elements of nature in the forming the body, bringing the consciousness as well, which is not right. Sri Vadiraja Tirtharu also explains with a lot of examples. Let us take, for example, people, those who don't have vision impairment. So let us say there are 100 people, those who have not got any vision. So if you combine these 100 people and make them assemble in one place, will they get vision? No, they don't have vision. So if they are separated or they all stand in one place, still nobody has got a vision. So Cāruvāka's argument is like this: when the elements of nature which does not have any consciousness as a property, if they combine, will consciousness come in the product? No. Similar to how 100 vision impaired people, even when they come together close to each other, they will not get vision. Instead, among the 100, if one person has got vision, then the rest 99 can be guided very well, and they all can reach the destiny. Similarly, there is some conscious being present inside, which is called soul. That soul is propelled by various deities, and then Mukhya Prana, and finally Vishnu, who is the independent and propeller of all, including Mukhya Prana. So only by presence of this consciousness, the body acts, body functions. We don't even realize that our body functions. Nobody keeps on checking their heartbeat. We casually sleep, we dream, we are in the conscious state, we drive, we do office work. But all the organs keep working. Though they are insentient, they keep on working because of the presence of these conscious beings inside. And when somebody is declared dead, that means all those conscious beings have left the body, they have gone out of the body, and that is why the body is not functioning. Hence, the Cāruvāka view that body is the self and body is everything, and there is nothing beyond the body, is not logically right. And on the rebirth, they don't believe in rebirth because they can't see the past birth. They can see only the current, but they can perceive only the current birth. If somebody has to speak about the previous birth and future births and all, then that should be based on the inference or the scriptural texts. But Cāruvākas don't believe in inference or the scriptural texts, so they don't believe in the rebirth. But the experience of the past births is very well seen in this world. Let us take a cub that is born in the forest, or let us take a deer, a small deer cub is born, or let us take a cow, any animal, cow and a calf. So the calf, the moment it is born, without anybody teaching the calf knows where it has to go for its next survival. The moment it is born, it looks for the milk from the mother. They know where they can get the milk, and they consume the milk. Even the human babies, when my wife was pregnant, she had some classes. So the trainer said the babies need not be necessarily fed milk. After the baby is born, she said, if you just put the baby on your shoulder or on yourself, on the body, the baby will naturally try to find the place where the baby can get milk. So whatever is required for the survival, that intelligence has been given to the babies, even babies who are just born and know nothing about this world as per Cāruvāka. Even they know where they can get the milk. And if we see in the forest, some Sattvika jivas like cow, deer, even the babies, the calf or the cubs, they know who is dangerous and who is friendly. So if another cow comes near, or if a deer comes near a cow, a calf, it does not run because it knows those are friendly. But when a lion roars or a tiger roars, then they immediately start running. They get afraid. Frightened by the roar, they start running. So they even know what is good and what is bad for them. So all necessary survival instincts, the intuitions are present in them. So how this comes in, nobody has taught, right? See, if we are teaching a 10 years old boy on how to eat, then that is very well possible. But for a newborn, there are survival instincts. They know what is good, what is bad, where they can get the milk for their survival. So all these can be inferred that those necessarily came from the experiences in the past birth. So that is how they are able to perform these actions when nobody taught them. And there are also cases in this world where a small boy, he told his parents about his previous birth somehow. What was his name in the previous birth? He told his parents that he was murdered, and he also knew the place where he was buried. And this has been verified by the people, their parents and other archaeologists or scientists, whatever name we give. So those all were verified and were found factual. But this boy is a small boy who has got no idea about the country in which he was killed in his previous birth. He never even traveled there, but he told everything about his past birth, his memories, and those were verified. So we even have such scientific proofs in today's world for past birth and the experiences, and that has been reported as well. I don't know, I read it somewhere, and in case I get a report, I will try to forward. But we have necessary proofs for the existence of the rebirth and karma phala from the previous births as well. So the Cāruvāka view in this is totally wrong. They are logically not correct. In fact, they don't believe in logic also. Inference is logic. They don't believe in logic, reasoning, inference, nothing. So that there is no vishaya, there is no subject matter. What is the subject matter in Cāruvāka? Nothing actually. They say you live as you want. Is this a subject matter? So there is no subject matter, and there is no adhikari. Adhikari means the eligible person to pursue some course or some education. So if they have to be educated on Cāruvāka, then there is no adhikari, because they don't believe in defectless words. They can't even proceed to preach others. So there is no adhikari, there is no subject matter, and there is no benefit as well in this, because it will result in mutual crimes. The Cāruvāka philosophy will only lead to the mutual crimes. I will come to that later. And there is no sambandha, logical connection between the subject matter and the goal. There is no goal at all. Their goal is just to be happy and enjoy as you want. That is their goal. So if something has to be called a shastra, then four things, the Anubandha Chatushtaya, have to be present. That is the adhikari, the vishaya, the sambandha, and then the benefit or the fruits. So all these are absent in the case of Cāruvāka, and hence the Cāruvāka philosophy will not do any good to anybody, and that is really useless. Now coming back to our views on the dharma adharma. So where we actually started, we analyzed the Cāruvāka from a common man's perspective, and then we analyzed from the epistemology perspective, and then we took their belief of there is nothing beyond the body, means soul, God, all these are absent, and body is everything. Insentients that are perceived are everything. So we took this view of Cāruvākas, and we debated. We also refuted the examples that they gave. But we originally started with the question on the dharma adharma. So when we said Sad-agama means the four Vedas, Mula Ramayana, Bharata, and then the entire Pancharatra, and anything that does not conflict with this is the Sad-agama, and the Bharata have to be accepted as the fifth Veda. So we discussed all this. So we said the Vedas are eternal. The sounds, the defectless sounds, the Vedas are eternal. So if a religion says there is no possibility of something called eternal words, then we said in that case the dharma adharma preached by a religion will have no basis, because any religion that does not accept in right and wrong, the do's and don'ts, that means the injunctions, that is what we call righteousness, unrighteousness, that is the dharma adharma. Right, wrong, do's and don'ts, those injunctions are called dharma adharma. And any religion that does not believe in dharma adharma, bare minimum, cannot be called a religion at all. And once they accept dharma adharma, then they have to establish the basis for the dharma adharma. Humans or any author cannot be the basis for dharma adharma, because we see lot of defects in the humans. In that case, a religion necessarily have to accept something called eternal words, which are the basis for the dharma adharma, which we call Vedas. We say Vedas are eternal. So basically, whether they say they accept Vedas or not, they have to accept in something called eternal words. That is what we say as Vedas, means the Vedantins say as Vedas. If they don't accept in eternal words, then it means the basis for dharma, adharma in their religion is authored. If that is authored, then the defects of author will be seen in the authored work as well, and hence their dharma, adharma cannot, the basis of their dharma, adharma cannot be accepted as a valid basis, in which case the religion will miserably fail. So yeah, the religion, if they have to succeed, they have to accept something called eternal words. That is something that does not have a creation or destruction. They are forever. That is the Sanatana Dharma. So somebody should accept, the religion should accept in the eternal words. Only then the Dharma, Adharma they preach will become valid. They have to accept the eternal words as the basis. Otherwise it will fail. In that case, Cāruvāka came and said they don't even believe in Dharma, Adharma. We told if something is to be called a religion, they have to first believe in Dharma, Adharma. And the Cāruvāka says, we believe only what in we perceive. So we don't even believe in Dharma, Adharma. So what you will do now in this case? We don't need Vedas because we don't believe in Dharma, Adharma at all. We believe only in sincere enjoyment. That's it. So they are saying, all the Brahmins, they scared the people for their own benefits. So they said, if you do these do's, you will go to heaven. If you do the don'ts, you will go to hell. So why are you unnecessarily scaring the people, making them afraid of their own way of living? So let them live happily. If they say so, then that cannot be accepted, because if most of the people are self-disciplined only because they believe in dharma. They may say we can control all crimes using the police force, law as there. Courts are there, police is there, but still crimes are happening. So bad people always think about how they can perform a crime without being caught. Everybody is not fearing that. So only because the people believe in this dharma, adharma, many people are still self-disciplined and the society is still peacefully running. Though we have some crimes here and there, but major people believe in dharma, adharma. That is why the society is smoothly running even today. So if you remove the dharma, adharma, if you say that there is nothing called dharma, adharma, because dharma, adharma cannot be perceived, then if people don't even believe in dharma, adharma, then the crime rate will increase in the society and there will be mutual crimes. So what does it mean? If somebody says there is no dharma, adharma, your survival is important, your enjoyment is important, you live as you wish. That means they are preaching you that you can go and steal anywhere. If somebody has got some food or gold or something, you can murder them and take it away. So it is like giving somebody a license to commit crimes. So somebody who don't even believe in dharma, adharma cannot do any good to the society. Instead, it will result only in the mutual crimes. And even for the preacher, the person who preaches that there is no dharma, adharma, it will not be a surprise if the preacher itself is attacked. Because when you say to the students that there is nothing called dharma, adharma, and let us say the preceptor holds a good amount of wealth, so that the disciple will not hesitate to even kill the guru and take away his wealth. So what you are preaching will not do good even for the preacher. And it will not do good for the society and the students and the society as well. So this will all result only in the mutual crimes. So there is no subject matter like dharma, adharma in Cāruvāka philosophy. There is no fruits like heaven, hell. So it is so just something like writing a research paper about a crow's teeth. We already went through this as a defect in while seeing the pramanas. So there is no prayojana. Let us say somebody proceeds to write a book about research on crow, the bird crow's teeth. What is the benefit of that? Even the author will also not get any benefit. Those who read that also will not get any benefit. So what is the use of that? So similar such is the work of the Cāruvākas. That is what told by Sri Tikacharyaru in the Vishnu Tattva Vinirnaya Tika. And he also gives an example of Charaka Samhita. So in Ayurveda, there is something called Charaka Samhita. So the Charaka is the oldest branch in Ayurveda. Then later came something called Sushruta Samhita. So these are the base works, the Ayurveda Shastras that the Ayurvedic doctors even follow today. So if we take Charaka Samhita, then there is a benefit that there is a preacher who is already a doctor, and there are students, those who are going to become the future doctors. There are adhikaris, and it gives medicinal values of different herbs, how to cure a disease, all that. And those who learn the Shastra are benefited as doctor, and those who get treated with that Shastra are getting rid of the disease. So they also have got benefit. So everything that is required for a Shastra is present there. So even works like Charaka Samhita, it can be called as a Shastra. But in case of the Cāruvāka philosophy, what is the use of this Cāruvāka Grantha? So no use beyond perception, then no use in this world as well. See, Vedantins, of course, give the injunctions based on the Vedas. They give all do's and don'ts. Of course, while following those do's and don'ts, people also feel painful. There are so many people who are passionate about this and they do to please God. There are some people who do due to compulsion or something. However, those who do to please God, they get liberated in the due course of time. And those who follow, even for the sake of following, they still have got benefits, temporary benefits like heaven, hell. If they follow don'ts, then they go to the hell. If they follow do's, they go to the heaven. So this is all after death. So Vedanta, though prescribes the injunction in this world, they say about the fruits of these do's and don'ts in the other world. So there is a benefit. If they follow the do's, then they have benefit, even in this world and the other world. But in case of Cāruvāka, even in this world, nothing is benefited. There is no benefit. Nobody is benefited. There is no benefit at all, because they even remove dharma, adharma from their belief by saying that they cannot believe anything that they don't perceive. And this will naturally result in mutual crimes only. People will fight with each other. People will kill each other. So it is as good as preaching people to commit crimes and giving them a license to do crimes. So there is no benefit in this world because of the Cāruvāka. So at least if you see if there are any benefits in the other world, then as per Cāruvāka, they don't believe in the other worlds because they don't believe in anything that they can't perceive. They don't believe in Swarga Naraka. They don't believe in Punya Papa. So they don't preach any rewards or benefit in the other worlds after death. And even in this world, they think they preach the benefit, but it really will result in mutual crimes. And there is no real benefit in this world also. So we can say that there is no adhikari, there is no benefit or use of this Cāruvāka Shastra. And hence this Cāruvāka Shastra, which is it is not at all a Shastra. They call it a Shastra, so I just used that, but we don't accept that as a Shastra. That is why Cāruvāka are not even debated. They are not considered a religion, a Samaya. They are not even debated because they are unfit for a debate. They are always criticized. And the Cāruvāka is useless and something that has to be torn and smashed and thrown into the bin. And because that is not at all useful for the society. This ideology is not at all useful for the society. So we started with a question on what is the basis for dharma, adharma. And if somebody like Cāruvāka comes and says, I don't even believe in dharma and adharma, now what will you do? Then we say, they can't even be called a religion, and they cannot be considered at all in first place for a debate, and they are totally useless, and they have to be smashed and thrown away. So that is what we have seen so far. Little more to cover. So after that we will get into the debate with the religions who believe in dharma adharma, but they don't believe in the Vedas as basis. And there are some religions who believe even in Vedas, but they say the Vedas are authored. So we will go through all that one by one. So let me conclude this episode with this one. So we went through the background of Cāruvāka, the Cāruvāka principles, and the Cāruvākas are also, I believe, they are effectively refuted, and this refutation is very convincing to the people. That is what I believe. I am convinced. I have read the scriptures. I am taught by my preceptor. So having an unbiased view on the comparison between the Cāruvāka beliefs and the Vedantic beliefs, the beliefs of Madhva Shastra especially. So I am very much convinced that the Cāruvāka philosophy is useless for the society and have to be thrown away. So I will believe that the others, those who are listening to this discourse, are also convinced. So with this, we will conclude this episode, and I will again get back in the episode number 23 coming week. Thank you. Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.